by the same oil and gas industry that manufactures all the fertilizers and pesticides and has sliced up the Mississippi Delta, is making all these problems worse. Alternating periods of extreme drought and torrential rains are strongly affecting corn and soy production, while the rise in sea level due to global warming threatens to drown large swaths of the East and Gulf coasts from Maine to Texas. These problems are the byproduct of two of the most important and successful components of American prosperity: the petrochemical industry along the Gulf and industrial agricultural production in the upper Mississippi heartland. Big agriculture produces more than a third of the corn and soy grown worldwide, as well as the grains that are consumed in countless forms, from the meat, poultry, and processed food we eat to the ethanol in our gas tanks. But this prosperity seems increasingly hollow as the risks to the safety of our homes and health skyrocket. Why aren't we doing anything about this? One reason, or excuse, is that environmental threats are frustratingly abstract. Our eyes tend to glaze over as scientists attempt to explain the causes and consequences of a 1, 2, or 3 degree Fahrenheit rise in temperature over the next 10, 50, or 100 years, and our appallingly inadequate educational programs in basic science do little to counter voters' distrust of things they don't understand. But it's not so abstract if you're a farmer watching your crops being destroyed again and again by increasingly persistent droughts, or if you were unlucky enough to have been in New Orleans or New York City during Hurricanes Katrina or Sandy, or in Houston, Florida, and Puerto Rico during the horrific hurricane season of 2017. So we set out to explore the heartland and the Gulf firsthand, to talk to people, listen to their stories, and see for ourselves what was going on. We began at Lake Itasca, Minnesota, the headwaters of the Mississippi, where the river trickles forth in a stream we could step over, then worked our way south through the corn and soy shag of Iowa, past the gigantic systems of locks and levees, and through Louisiana's Cancer Alley, where massive refineries vomit out chemical waste. Then on to Katrina-besmacked New Orleans, and the once proud Bird's Foot Delta with its bountiful marshes, shrimp, oysters, wildlife, and natural gas that are sinking into the ocean at the shocking rate of a football field every day. It was a journey that few Americans living on either coast ever make, full of fun, adventure, great people, food and music, sublime natural beauty, and nature unnaturally scarred. Everywhere we visited seemed on the verge of a breakpoint. Midwestern corn was reaping enormous profits, although these have since collapsed, but the challenges of farming were increasing due to everything from pesticide-resistant superweeds to dramatic increases in extreme weather events that were destroying crops and causing catastrophic soil erosion and loss. Pollution from excess nutrients was poisoning the region's drinking water and creating dead zones in Lake Erie even more threatening than the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico. Oil and gas were booming despite a recent drop in gas prices at the pump, and natural gas was winning the competition against coal as the major source of cleaner energy for generating electricity. But the entire Mississippi Delta seemed on the verge of disappearing beneath our feet, and with it the great marshes' centuries-old buffering protection for New Orleans and the entire Louisiana coast. Back home, we reflected on how the fate of places where we had stopped and people whom we had met hold great meaning for all Americans, more than most of us know. In our minds, our journey became a metaphor for the range and scope of the environmental problems we all face, and of how the things we do in one place affect the well-being of faraway places and peoples we have never met, not just in the heartland or the Delta, but everywhere that human actions are pushing the environment beyond its limits. The list is daunting. Severe long-term drought in the Southwest, soil erosion, superweeds, and poisoned groundwater in the heartland, sea level rise, land subsidence, and stronger hurricanes along the Gulf and East.